So, okay. So, buen dia, buenos dias, hello everybody. Who is not so fluent in English and want to understand me, I think can get a translation. There must be some earphones to do so. Yeah, first of all, I'm very happy to be here and to welcome you to what we call Neurax Talks. First of all, I'm very happy to be in our new canteen. The first time that we use it for such a thing, and I think you will join with me to say that it's really, yeah, is a totally new atmosphere. If I remember when I first saw how it looked like and was dirty and not modern at all, and I think now we have here something where it's really nice to have a meeting like this, or you then have your lunch break or whatever. Neurax Talks. I think in the daily business that we have, with all the work and the stress, we forget sometimes one thing. We do things that are important for people. We do produce drugs that are planned to heal diseases. You know, with the stress that we do, we only see sometimes only the small things. A sales rep only sees he has to visit the doctor, someone in lab, oh, I have to make my quality control, someone in production, I must produce it. We should never forget the origin of all what we do here, what has been done, is that we want to produce something that is increasing, improving the quality of life of people. And one of these things is Alzheimer's disease or dementia. I think most of you know that not today, but on the 21st of September, which is a Saturday, that is why we make it today, we have the so-called Alzheimer Day. This is something that I think each year since '94, something like this, is happening. And why it's happening? Why do you have such a special day? Because Alzheimer's disease, dementia, is something which is getting a bigger and bigger burden for us and for society. Okay. In the first step, Alzheimer, you see, is a disease like every other. No. I think for the moment in the world, you have roughly 50 million people suffering from this. And in the next 20 to 30 years, it should nearly triple to 130 million. Again, okay, 50 million, what does it mean? I give you another example. Take Germany, because sorry, I do not know from Spain, but in Germany. In Germany, you have a little bit more than 80 million inhabitants. And you have 1.7 million people that suffer from dementia. 2%. Each 50th of it. Again, very, you could say, okay. Take me. I have the luxury situation that both my parents are still alive. My father is 97 years old, and my mother is 90. But what the real luxury is, what the real grace of God is, that they're totally in their brain okay. Yeah, they are intellectually totally there, they can manage it. Even, okay, my father does not see so well anymore, or does not hear so well anymore. My mother has some problem with her joints. But mentally, they are totally there. And as long as this is, everything else is nothing and can be managed. I have seen this with friends of myself, where then one of their parents, or even both, had a dementia. And then that changes the life totally. Yeah, that changes the life totally, because imagine a situation where your own mother or your own father does not recognize you anymore, does not know who you are. So, to bring this a little bit more to yourself. So, and again, always remember we are a company from the origin whose objective is to produce something which is giving here, healing it, is not possible for the moment, but is fighting the symptoms. Later on, Christoph will tell you a little bit. For the moment, you know, we are selling in different countries 4 different compounds, 4 different active substances to treat dementia. you know that we have just signed recently a contract and will launch a probiotic that also will go in this direction in the future. So this is a topic that is important for us. And that is why we have said we start something that we call Neurax Talk, which will from time to time take one of the areas of the indications we work in and will then use it to have a kind of common, let me say, day in the company where we look into one of the topics. What is also so important is that while you are sitting here in Spain, this is not a Spanish thing. This is also directly transmitted in all other countries where we have own affiliates. So it's really a whole Neurax Farm company day. So you could say we start this, we do it broad, and we will only want not only to tell you what it is, but we also want you to be part of it. And you have seen this at sharing memories. Yes, this here and afterwards, I come later. We have a very honored guest that has much more knowledge than all of us about this and can give you much more details. But we have also asked you to be part of it. You know, we have asked you to share memories via photos with us, memories you had in the past with people that you loved. And we have also even asked you to send in some recipes, again with this. So really to be active in this, because we don't want that this is something theoretical, artificial, where you look only from, no, we want that we should be part. Why? I don't think that with the 750 employees that we have in the world, we will change the situation of Alzheimer or dementia. But we can be a nucleus. If we look into it, if you tell your friends, your other parts of your families what we do, and they spread this, and others spread it, we acknowledge this more. And I think a company like ours must be in the center of such a discussion. So, this all said, first of all, I know that some of you have already sent in these photos, but I hope that for sure much more will send it in, because I think it's really a kind of activity we should look in. It's part of our social responsibility, I think, to do so. Second now, I want to present to you the person that will tell you now something about Alzheimer dementia, Professor Mercè Boada. She's coming from Barcelona. She's one of the most well-renowned scientists, professors, medical doctors in this area. I cannot tell you all her functions that she has, but mostly she is known, she is as director here of the ACE. Do you say ACE? ACE? I don't know. ACE, okay, I thought so. ACE Foundation here in Spain, dealing especially with Alzheimer, but she is in a lot of other associations. She has, I think, made than hundreds of studies, a lot of lectures, a lot of articles, a lot of books. So, really, she's one of the person most well-known and renowned in this area, and I think it's very an honor for us that we could ask her and attract her to come today to us and to tell you a little bit about this. So, I wish you a very nice presentation. I wish you being part of, as I said, this corporate company day, corporate company activity, which for sure also should, at the end, be part of something, putting the different countries that we are operating in, more together, sharing moments, sharing activities together, whether you're in Spain, Germany, Italy, France, or wherever. Because at the end, despite all the differences of nationality, at the end we are one Neurax family. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I would like to hand over to Professor Boada. Thank you.
Hola, bon dia a tothom. És un plaer per mi estar aquí, poder parlar només un moment amb vostès en català, perquè és la meva llengua, y también en castellano, porque muchos de ustedes son castellano parlantes. La exposición va a ser en inglés, porque es como su compañía, els Neurax Talks, me han pedido porque se puede hacer un poco más de difusión. But it's really, my exposition could be very, very easy, very simple. But I want to start at the beginning to the end, from all the trajectory of Alzheimer's disease, because Alzheimer's disease is not easy. It's not easy disease. And sometimes people confund Alzheimer's disease with senile dementia, with something appear when we are elderly people and when we are old. Congratulations for your genetics, my dear. That is a beautiful present for your family. Huh? Oh, it's not bad, this one, it's exceptional. Well, that is exceptional. But normally, everybody, when we reach 80s, 85, we lose memory. And that is the crucial point. Memory is a crucial point to understand dementia. But dementia is not memory, is not cognitive functions, is my vital life activity. When I lose memory, the consequence, I lose to do something. I can't to do something. When I need help for a life, that is the concept of dementia. Dementia is a concept of function. It's not cognition. Okay? But cognition is completely related to my capacity to a life completely alone. The fathers is living alone. People with dementia can. Okay? Okay, I am sometimes a little apraxic with this one. Apraxic is no lo sé hacer ir. Vale? That is, well, apraxis is cognition and ser torpe is normal. Vamos a ver, my dear. Vamos por aquí. Oh, that is fantastic. That is my disclosures, because that is mandatory for the industries and for my work. No, Ahora. Okay. And I want to talk a little about Fundación ACE, because he's talking about my institution, and I believe that you are interested to know in how we are working, in which we are working, and why we are working. That is Fundación ACE. A little about dementia in the world, a little about the background from AD, how to we learn and we have knowledge for the past, because Alzheimer's disease has more than 100 years in knowledge, and to produce papers and to produce research. But at the end, you can observe that maybe I have nothing here. Okay? And that it's more than 100 years. A little for the present, we are going to let course to chart the incipient stage and the current status of the treatment, because people say, what is your offer? What offered you? Because I have dementia. Okay, that is Fundación ACE. Fundación ACE is a private but non-profit organization, and in our public health system we are involved, and we have a contract with the government of Catalonia, and Fundación ACE is a public center like Hospital de Sant Pau, Hospital Clinic. Its people arrive to the Fundación ACE with a plastic car, salute, okay? And public, it's equal, no pay. Our patients, it's no pay because it's pay for the state, okay? Even though we are a private foundation, and it is founded for my husband, he's here, no se ve. That is my husband, that is my husband and me. that is a little the chronology. We are starting as a daycare center for late onset Alzheimer's disease. Late onset is when the dementia appear around 75, 80. The common name is late onset because appear late in the nearly to the 78 years. And this daycare center appear when there are not any treatment for Alzheimer's disease. And this daycare center is a center to improve knowledge, for improved socialization, for improved education in people or for people with Alzheimer's disease or with dementia. From 10 in the morning, 6, and they have lunch with us. Secondly, and the name of here is Alzheimer Center Education, ACE. And that is the name of our foundation, because it's a start here. In 96, we create and build one memory clinic. In 96, we prepare one clinical trial unit because the clinical trials arrived to Spain because Spain was not credible. We have not credit for the big pharma for the clinical trials because we have not history in Alzheimer's disease or in dementia for the clinical trials. We create this one. Here we create another daycare center for early onset dementia. What is early onset dementia? Early onset dementia is when the dementia appear in the 50s. And the people who attend this therapeutic daycare day, the average age is 50 and sometimes 45 years. Is very, very young people. Completely different from the other, because the average age is 80s. And from people from 80s and 50, the social concept, the style of life is completely different, the knowledge, the learnings, the scholar is completely different, the programs must be to design adapting to for the age and the knowledge. Here in 2012, we prepared the budget research. I was talking about this one because we can to build one very strong budget research unit because we have a very good clinic volume and clinic diagnosis. This we are moving from the Barcelona Alzheimer Treatment and Research Center. We are linked to the Universitat Catalunya, and we are member of the Cibernet, and Cibernet is the structure of the institution linked with Instituto Carlos III, and it manages the research in Spain. Oh, my dear, what is a memory clinic? Memory clinic is described in this paper. And in this paper, describe what is our mission, what is our activities, what is our organigram, what is the objective, and the protocols. And we can find in this reference. And what is the most important for us in our memory clinic? My dear, esto no funciona. What are you doing in our memory clinic, which sometimes it could be completely different from the others' memory units or the others' units in the big departments of the hospital, because we are working in the multidisciplinary team. The multidisciplinary team is we are working in the same status, in the same flat. Neuropsychologists, neurologists, geriatricians, and social workers. And our diagnosis is a global assessment when all these professionals, we are agree with the diagnosis. We monitoring the full process of these patients from the beginning until they can to attend our center. We promote and preserve the dignity and the privacy of our patient. That is very important, because privacy is important because sometimes they don't want that the others knows that they are very bad, or they are dirty, or they can't to go to the toilet and can't to eat, or others, what it changed the style of life. And it is impossible for one teacher, the French teacher, they don't want that the others knows that for this person, it's impossible to speak in French. And that is privacy and that is dignity. Another is to control the social and health emergency care. And of course, our proposal in research is clinic, apply, and basic research. More things, that is the facts and figures. How many people we visit and we have the diagnosis every year in Fundación ACE, the new patients, and these new patients is delivery from the PCPs, the medical doctor, primary care, around 2,000 every year. Follow more or less is 5,000, and for our institution, we see every year around more than 70,000 persons. But if I have not only one action, I have not only one visit for every one person. The first visit is for social worker, 30 minutes. Second is for neurologist or geriatric without the patient, only with the family, in order to understand what is cooking in this family, and the families can to talk with us very, very free, feel free, in order to express and send us a lot of information. Social worker, and a total every year we are moving around 13 interventions. That is our power. Really, that is our power. And how many, all these people have dementia. Every one of these people is delivery for us, for our PCPs, for the primary care as dementia. No. And that is another, there is the pearl of the crown. Because at the first, when I started working in Fundación ACE, when we visit the patients can't talk with us, can't explain nothing, because it's very, very advanced. Now it changed because people arrive with no dementia, with no cognitive impairment. And that offers us the opportunity to understand the history of Alzheimer's disease, the history, that what is the hallmark in this brain, and to propose the drugs not here. Here. It's 10 years before. And that is the challenge. If I receive the 12% of the patients, he's completely normal, healthy control, is because our public health system is working very well. Thank you for the primary care, because they pay attention and send and deliver us the patients before they have dementia. And this is a luxury situation for us. This is healthy controls without no impairment. Sometimes they express subjective memory complaints. In Germany, it's working very well. France is working very well in subjective memory complaints, and offer the possibility to understand what is happening in the next 2 years, next 5 years, and to prevent and to establish a new policies for these people, and to ask about how is the budget, national budget, to treat patients with dementia, and that is dementia. And this dementia, Alzheimer, represent the 74% of all types of dementia, because we have vascular dementia, Lewy body dementia, frontal dementia, and even you understand that is a 3%, 6%, that it's as a first visit, it's a very good number. that is another representation of dementia, because the concept of dementia is not only dementia, is a little dementia, a lot of the lesions in this brain that the function is completely, and this brain is completely devised, and that is concrete with the clinical dementia rating scale. The clinical dementia rating scale offers us the knowledge about the severity. It's more advanced. 0, it's normal. 0.5 is people who lose only memory, but it's completely dependent. They have capacity to live alone. And from here, it's mild, moderate, and severe. Of course, without dementia, is 0. With mild cognitive impairment, that is the name, the academic name from lost memory, lost language, lost executive functions, is CDR05, and the other is dementia. That is for your knowledge. And if you can see here, the most prevalent is Alzheimer's disease. A little more. I was talking with you about applied research. What is important for the patients with dementia? What is important for the professionals who are working in dementia? To ask and found one treatment. And the treatment, you are working in the big pharma, treatment is planned, prepared, and analyzed and tested with the clinical trials. And we are really a good, or very well-known institution for the clinical trials, and we are moving more or less with 25, 26, 24 clinical trials focused on cognition, no other disease. We are focused in cognition. We are not a center for general neurology. That is our real power. And that is research, another research focused in dementia that we received funds from Europe, some funds from US, from the RO1, from the National Institute from Carlos III, and with collaboration with private institutions of big pharma, like this is a very important project in genetics. FACEBI is one project in asymptomatic people, normal people. Norface is to test another kind of biomarker is focused in the layers of the retina, and FASAL is working with neuroinflammation. Well, and when you talk about people say, what is your phase? An academic phase is publications. We need to publish, because if we are not published, we are no name. And our publications, last year it's 9 papers, it's 32 papers, and with the average of the impact factor 9, and really we are fine, happy with our work. And the people he's working with us feels happy to be involved in this project. Okay, well, and I like so much to send you, show you this slide, because here is really my genetics, my DNA. And the Fundación ACE DNA is collaborate, open mind, open access, to be with the others, to involve with another's projects, to establish synergies, to build bridge, because alone it's impossible to move forward. We need to promote and establish alliance and synergies with the other people. How about the dementia world? Very well known, we're growing. But we are growing a little in very high income countries. But really, the big problem is not Europe. The big problem is not Europe. Your market, I change. I change completely. What is your market? Your market is here. The market is in the India, in the Turkey, because they are growing a lot. Really, this is your market. That is a very established market. We are growing and increase the number and the prevalence of Alzheimer's disease or the other dementia, but really the eclosion, the volcanic eruption is not in Europe, is not in Canada, is not in US, is in US because it's millions and millions and millions of persons, but really is here. Really is in the big countries. We are in the big countries. Big countries is Spain, big countries is Portugal, P. Big countries is Italy, P. And the big countries is Greece. That is the prediction from 2050. But please, Turkey, please, Egyptian, because it's very young people, and the people with dementia is in-house. They are not diagnosed, and when they emerge and come to do the diagnosis, that it's really the big problem, but it's really your profit as a company, because we need to treat all these people, the Mediterranean River. And dementia is a little part of the budget of the US in the economic burden in neurological disease. It's little, big. If you compare with multiple sclerosis, it's very expensive. If you compare with Parkinson's disease, it's very well known. Please, that is the portion of the cake. And the portion of the cake from the burden from neurological disease is Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And if we believe in this data, because this data is from the British now is with the Brexit, I don't know if we can establish a good connections, and they are working as us. But really, it's working. The cost of dementia is incomparable from the cost from the stroke on cancer, but research in cancer is astonishing, and in Alzheimer's is imagine in your mind. With that, it was impossible. It's impossible to ask and to find a cure. We need to change all this one. And that is for the companies, that is for the states, that is from the mecenas, from the philanthropy, because we need to change this one in order to improve the knowledge and to treat patients. Background, that is Alzheimer. We know very well this one. That is really that we have a brain. We observe that neurons and then it disappear, and it's disappearing in progression. Here is they are not forest. And if we have not neurons, we have not connections, we have not cognition, because cognition depends from the dendritic connection, the synapses. And synapses is moving constantly, it's improving constantly. And we depend of the connection from one neuron from the other neuron to create synaptic plasticity for learn and for memory. Without this one, if I can't be back. I come to be back here, it's not memory and no learning. If I treat this brain, it was impossible to cure, because here they are nothing. I need to treat this neuron to perceive this neuron in this shape and with these connections. A little more. That is history. It's a beautiful history. Really, it's a beautiful history. The history appeared in 1907, and Alois Alzheimer describes perfectly the clinical status of Madame Auguste, because it's a young people. This lady is nearly 57, and he's disoriented in the hospital, in the theater. He can't to talk. He can't remember his name. He can't remember the name of his husband, and died very, very early. It was a very special case because Alois spent that the process could be from a long time, and the death appeared rapidly. And the brain of this lady, and he describes a rare disease of the brain, have 2 hallmarks, because he knows some different figures, elements in the brain that they classify or typify the hallmark for this kind of the disease. And we are working with the concept for a long time. In the 70s, the problem on ID is a health impact. And here they produce a lot of papers in epidemiology to know the quantity, the volume. Here, it was really very important. Who is the Discover Glenner, and what is Discover the group of the Gundel-Kibble? They discovered the 2 hallmarks that in 1907, Alzheimer's detected in the brain, beta-amyloid and tau. They discover molecular, and that is the hallmark, the entity, the molecular, who define the disease. To make a good diagnosis, through diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease, I need to examine the brain, post-mortem, and found beta-amyloid and tau. It was impossible to treat this one because I have not the brain here. It was impossible to, no, it's impossible. We can't make one biopsy. But if I have one hole here, and here they are not beta, my diagnosis is not Alzheimer's disease, but here, 1 centimeter near to the function could be a beta. That is very, very important. What is the 3rd step, the very important step? The very important step is when people can see and obtain and measure the beta-amyloid and tau from biomarkers. And that it changed completely the presence, the definition, the status of Alzheimer's disease. Here it's number, and here it's to determine the disease with a lumbar puncture, because in the lumbar puncture in CSF I can to detect beta-amyloid and tau, or with neuroimaging with biomarkers. It's a complex biological disease. It's extremely complex because really it's not only the neural death. When I show you, is a multifactorial etiology, that is a complexity. Really, they are not a pure signature. My signature of the Alzheimer's disease is not real. Alzheimer have a lot of signatures. That is another difficulty. And is a disease no link only one gene, is a multiple genes. That is the complexity of the disease. That is the complexity. That is neural death, but it depends from beta-amyloid, it depends from tau, it depends from energy, mitochondria, ATP, it depends from neuroinflammation. He is growing a lot. It's the pain from that. It's a beautiful and it's very old picture because that is for Hellinger from the Munich neuropathologist. He is always talking the vessels and the wall of the vessels. That is the most important piece in order to produce the neural death and a lot of other things. A change, but it's the similar. 30-40% of cases it's linked another protein, 40-60% is linked to another protein, synuclein, and this is more or less the same concept with another schools. I back to this slide because that is a very important slide in order to understand very well the process of Alzheimer's disease. Is a pure signature? No. Alzheimer's depends from aging, the most important. I pay a big ticket, a business class, premium class, for to live a long time. That is my price. If I arrive to 19, I'm sorry, you are exceptional. But, but if you arrive 80, you have more possibilities to have Alzheimer's disease. But my dear, I prefer to arrive to 80 and no finish my life at the 50, no? And that is the price. That is my price. I pay for take oxygen and I pay for be very older. Vascular risk, genetic factors. At the first, very, very small part of the genetic factors seems that we are not linked to the genetics. Now it's like this one. Modern behavior, education, diet, exercise, that is prevention. And this is the signature. I was talking a little more from this slide because it's very important in order to understand, and that is genetics. One gene? No, my dear. Absolutely no. We need more than 17,000 subjects and samples in order to discover only 15 genes with one odds ratio, very, very, very small. But genes offer us the possibility to follow and understand the track and the function that the gene, and to find one drug, because the first drugs that you are working from a long time and now it's in failure is because it's discovered one gene is the gene, the AAP, the APD. Well, maybe that is the final, but it's not my final. Eh? It's no people, it's equal, but Claude Bernard say they are not equal disease, they are not equal patients, subjects, persons with Alzheimer's disease. It's completely different, that it's very well known, that it's touched, as you know, and I like so much because it's my favorite. Oh, my dear, I love Omar Sharif. Okay, what is the present? What is the present? Back here. That it's a beautiful paper. Beautiful paper is because the group of the Rush University and this memory unit collect and examine the 500 autopsies from the religious orders. All these people, the religious, the nuns and the religious, are in the similar status. 7 in the morning, eat, go to the church, eat, pray. Is a very established, a very routinary life. And the environment, it's not affect so much these patients, but affect the previous one. What is the important here? What is important here? And you can understand the difficult to treat and make a good diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease is here. This brain, from no cognitive impairment, for normal people, have AD signature, have Lewy body signature, and have infarctus. It's not a normal brain. It's a very pathological brain. But cognition and their function and their activity could be the president of states. It's completely normal. Well, or another, okay. Yeah? And it's completely normal. Huh? It's the president. It's the president. My dear, I don't know what is happening in the brain. Huh? But here, people, these religious, have memory loss, difficulties in language, or difficulties to prepare one omelette, that is executive functions, or to prepare and recheck one agenda, or to recheck the ticket for my travel. That is executive function. This is my cognitive impairment. It's not demented. It's not demented people, but their brain is destroyed by AD, by infarctus, by Lewy body, by synuclein. And here is people with dementia. People with dementia I need to treat from beta, from tau, for infarctus, from synuclein. How many? How many diseases? How many pathologic items, issues are in this brain? That is the difficulties of the Alzheimer disease. More things. That is another beautiful study, because it's a study from 2005, and he's built in the Aquitania, Bordeaux, un buen vino de Bordeaux. My friend, his orgulloso, said, well, my studies pay for the viñas of Bordeaux, Mercè, que te paguen los catalanes, porque si no, no te pagarán en el estudio. You understand me? No, you don't understand me. That Marco Rosso has the funds from the Bordeaux vineyards. And when I talk, well, I can repeat your study and say, well, but the Bordeaux is not paid for you. As from the Gramona, from Codorniu, from Freixenet, he's paid because my wine is one wine and the others in that. What is here? Here is people he's following in Aquitania for 19 years. Normal people. They are another study, but I don't talk from the second one. These people was normal in a very short test, is mini-mental test. Mini-mental test is very usually from the GPs, and is usually in every memory unit, and also in every clinical trial for the criteria for inclusion and exclusion criteria. 30 is normal, and 29 is normal. People who at the baseline is in 29, it's keep in plateau for all this time. But the others, it's 2 points, 3 points less than 20. It's at the 9 years falls down. That we name here, this point, is the theory of the catastrophe. That is the tsunami. And the tsunami, it's impossible to stop. That is the theory of the catastrophe. The same cure appear when the test is for language. It's only 3 points for my capacity for express my language is the phonetic, is a test. Is only 1 minute. And I said, please let me in 1 minute all the names of animals, that is categorical fluence, or all the words which start with P. 1 minute. Only the performance is not so good, the same. It's, what is important here, I need to treat here, because here I can't to treat, I can to recovery all that during all this time I lost. More things, that is our study. The study we are follow 500 people with only memory, completely normal as dementia. They have memory, and we have different kinds of memory. One kind of the memory is hippocampal memory. I show you some MRI that is focused on hippocampus. And hippocampus memory, this kind of the memory is impossible to fix the task. Right? They repeat because please call me tomorrow. And when I was in the door, you say, what did you say me? Please call me tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow I call you. I need to call you tomorrow? Yes, I need to call tomorrow. That is the kind of the memory that is focused in hippocampus. If we follow these people in front of another kind of memory, all the people who have storage memory, it's impossible to keep the message in my brain. In 2 years, 50% it's demented, and in 5 years, 98% has demented. I need to treat my cognitive impairment. More things. That is the clinical expression. That is my cognitive impairment. I need to treat this one. I lost memory. That is mild dementia. I need people help me from instrumental activities of living. Instrumental is call the phone, go to the freezer, prepare my meals, go to my toilet, prepare my dress. That is instrumental. As for the future, for tomorrow, go to the restaurant. And moderate and severe dementia is basics. It's toileting, dressing. What is our proposal? Our proposal is really now, we, all the clinicians, is still focused on later Alzheimer's disease, and that is a big error. We need to move from the early diagnosis and prevention. How to do? Education, information, because I have not a drug. Education, information, talk with the families and patients association, with the stakeholders, with health policymakers, open access for the treatment, open access for the facilities, open access for research, open access for clinical trials, offer as I can to everybody. No for health economics, no for poor people. Everybody have to reach one treatment, have to have support service, and have the rights to be in research and the clinical trial. And now Europe and every country is with incomes, economic incomes, want to increase the power of the patients in order that the patients take opinion in the decisions for their future. That is the clinical diagnosis, neurological assessment with the CRP, because to determine Alzheimer, I need to understand the function, what is happening in my life, and if I can live alone with health or little health or completely dependent. Neuropsychological assessment, picks batteries, a lot of the batteries more or less takes in Fundación ACE 1 hour, 45 minutes, more plus to the information, and using one specific, very specific test to ask and find this kind of memory, because my objective is to ask and find if this memory it have one impairment. With only this clinical poor investment, I don't need that. That is very cheaper, okay, cheaper. With one MRI or a blood test and genetic, I reach an optimal phenotype. Optimal phenotype is I can say you have Alzheimer, more, maybe perhaps you are probably Alzheimer or possible Alzheimer because you have vascular risk factors. But when I use the biomarkers, remember the third step to improvement, when I use the biomarkers in the lumbar tap or in the PET to emerge the beta-amyloid tau, I reach the etiological. When I have the etiological diagnosis, that is equal Alzheimer's disease. Here is probably Alzheimer's disease. That is imbalance, okay? Here, sometimes people can be changed. Here, when I have the biomarkers, the positive biomarkers in CSF or in PET, it's very difficult that diagnostic could be changed. Maybe it's a definitive diagnosis. And I ask you, please, lumbar puncture is easy, because without lumbar puncture, we have not the diagnosis. But my PCPs, they, it's painful. It's painful. Oh, but I have the diagnosis, it's not painful. No, I have the diagnosis, it's not painful. No? That I need to change my mind, because I need to embed with the new biomarkers in order to advance in the disease. Multimodal neuroimaging, all this one is normal in our public health system. That is MRI. And I detect vascular, I detect atrophy, that is not normal because it's connection from the white matter. That is not normal. It's not usual, I'm sorry. That is not usual, that is research, because with this MRI, I detect the areas that are active. This MRI, when the people is in the machine, we say, please close the eyes, no hearing, and think in one word. Think in the word, think in the one elephant, or the animals, or them, and they can detect the area which is active. That is a functional MRI. It's very difficult. People with Alzheimer can maintain the attention in the task. And that is functional neuroimaging. I detect if this area needs glucose for live or no needs glucose. If this area don't need glucose, don't need to eat glucose, it's equal that neuron is death. And all this area is disappear of the neurons, and this is active. And that, in red, is beta amyloid in one PET. I show you the similar findings in MRI in two people that is atrophy. I lost a lot of cortical neurons. Hippocampus is here. Memory, this memory that I need to catch and to maintain here, to remember tomorrow. I hope that you tomorrow remember me. Huh? Please pay attention in this one. Huh? This memory is here, and here is destroyed. But the difference from this MRI and the other is one is for 50 years and the other is for 80 years. Okay? When I saw the MRI, it's similar, but 50, it's not the same from 80. That is the hallmark that neuroimaging can offer me to find the diagnosis. That is the Kelten structure that using a lot of MRIs and that it's normal, that it's not so normal, and that it's completely abnormal. And we use this scale in order to detect the progression of the disease, because at the beginning is here, at the end is here, and that is we can follow and monitoring the clinical process with MRI with neuroimaging, and that is my friend Chet Mattis and Clan who discovered the radio link for beta amyloid. It was astonishing, absolutely astonishing, because it's the first time that beta amyloid, I can see the beta amyloid in one picture, no, in the autopsy. And it's really the change, the important change in our life. But I want to explain another difficulty for the clinicians, or another difficulty for the researchers, or another difficulty to find one treatment. That is Alzheimer's disease, and that is normal aging. In red it's beta amyloid, and here they are not detected beta amyloid, but tricky. Here is the same, it's normal people, normal aging, but if you can see, is the similar image from the Alzheimer's disease. That is a confounder. When we found this one, I don't know, is these people have Alzheimer's disease or no? What is my tool in order to determine if is one demented or no? Neuropsychological examination and clinical life. When you express, when you send, when you offer me a lot of information that I can to detect that these people can to determine these people is normal, because 30% of the elderly people is beta positive. Alzheimer knows this one? No. We know because we have the PIP component. But that is a confounder, and sometimes people, the family say, but you say me here is Alzheimer, but he's not worsening. You are in a mistake. Oh yes, I have a mistake. I'm sorry. I have a mistake. Little more about treatment. I am finishing about treatment. That is in 2012, but it changed a lot. But in 2016, here is my galaxy. That is a pharmacological galaxy. Every one of these points is a new component. All this one, it's increasing a lot in 5 years. That's beautiful article, and the posterior more, forward more articles from Jeffrey Cummings it's increased the thoughts from here. It is possible to cure Alzheimer's disease, I believe. What is the problem? Here is preclinical, normal. Here is normal people. And the course, the trajectory of Alzheimer's disease is to decline. Here is my cognitive impairment, and here is dementia people. Today, I have this treatment. I improve a little. When the people on the general practitioner say, oh, the treatment for Alzheimer's disease is not working. Please, I don't know it's not working, but I prefer to be here and to be here. How is the distance from here? More or less is 3 years or 4 years. Okay, no more. But I don't know if you boost for 4 years of your life or no. It depends your choice. My choice is to treat and take pills. What is my idea? Is to find one drug that it's keeping plateau when I have dementia. Well, no bad. It's a good lottery. What is the best one? To treat here and stop to the decline and maintain a trend for decline, but in plateau. What is the best? The best is here. Is to treat here and to establish no decline, no worsening in this patient. This line is potential. This is modified because I changed completely the history of Alzheimer's disease, of history of the Alzheimer. What is the real world? The real world is this one. The real world is the last component is 2003. No more. That is my sad history. That is my real world. I work with this and this and this and this from 2003. Completely different from the cancer. Completely different from multiple sclerosis. Completely different from seizures. epilepsy. So, that is true. That is this slide is right from 2014. But from the 2004 today, it's 3 days, Isai, their bathe was in failure. The bathe from Merck is in failure. The bathe of Lilly is in failure. The bathe of AstraZeneca is in failure. The bathe from Novartis is in failure. That is from here today. The map, the monoclonal from Lilly is in failure. And we have now one map from Isai. He's in the treatment from plasmapheresis, change total plasmapheresis from Grifols, and the new drugs he's working in phase 2, but not in phase 3. That is the real scenario from Alzheimer's disease. The real scenario is one: hepatitis, MRSA. The industry in the average reach 40% of successful in the research of the drugs, but in Alzheimer's disease the funnel is bigger, but the result is 0.5 of successful results. I don't know if you think why I am happy. I don't know if you think that because I am very active in my site, or I am proactive in Fundación ACE, and we visit the patients, and we treat the patients, and we help the patients, and we're working for the patients, and we're working on the families. Because my reason for to be a professional is to reach a successful rate like cancer. That is my hope, and that is my life. And I thought, as is your life. You are working here to reach this one. And you need to be enthusiastic with the drugs, with research, with basic research, because without this improvement, this activity, it's impossible to be happy in the world of Alzheimer's disease. Still today, we're almost empty-handed after so much economical investment and so much talent. But we lost a lot of things, but a lot of generosity from the patients. Patients and family have generosity. I cannot think that another disease that has such a profound effects of loss independence, because all these people is dependent and need for attention. I cannot think if any other disease that suppose such burdensome burden on families, the community, and the society. I cannot think of any other disease in which research is so crucial to find this cure. But despite of everything, I will never talk about fracas. Never failure. Never. Because it's not. It was impossible that I be here to talk with you. Because failure is not my dictionary. And that is the aim and my mission and my vocation to work in Alzheimer's disease. And I hope that you are working in order to disappear Alzheimer. Thank you very much. Em sembla que teniu gana. No ho sé, una mica en teniu o no? Ah, si volen, sí. Sí.
Hola. Hi. Well, now it's the turn for the questions and answers. I think that people from all over our sites can ask them, and the ones that are here, you can also raise your hand and ask something. Okay.
Una. Sí.
Hello, I'm Pablo. I would like to know your opinion regarding the new diagnosis therapies based on apolipoprotein E4, and if you know they can be effective for diagnose the disease before the appearance of MCI symptoms.
Well, APO4 is a new deal. It's during all this time, APO4 is forgotten. It's forgotten in research because it's only linked like the genetic risk. And as you know, the APO is the gene who expresses the more risk, when we detect genomes. But never, the researchers on the industry asking about the functionality of the APOE. APOE is linked to the cholesterol because it's linked to the cholesterol, and it is a transport from the cholesterol in our body. But the function of the APOE is linked with neurodegeneration. In the last results from Fundación ACE, in the GRACE, it's published last week, okay? It's published last week. We found the different function of the APOE not linked to the liver, not linked to the cholesterol, is linked with the wall of the vessels. And in this paper, I send you this paper, it's easy to understand. We are working in an agnostic concept. It's no hypothesize our findings. We analyze 16,000 samples of Alzheimer uncontrolled, and our discovery could be very interesting in order to understand APOE. We have another project only focused in APOE, and it's lead for ABB-BM. These findings offer the possibility that the majority of the genes that it's linked in Alzheimer, people with Alzheimer, these genes are linked with vascular disease, not with neurodegenerative disease. It's linked with the wall, Jellinger. It's 30 years ago. Another group of the genes are stable, and it's keeping in the middle of vascular neurodegenerative, but it's not relevant in order to be attacking, in order to understand the function. And the other group, these new findings, is linked with neuroinflammation. APOE is in the middle, okay? And APOE is risk factor gene, but is a new target for perhaps to treat Alzheimer's disease. Is a new discovery. Beautiful question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pablo, I send you the paper, okay?
Thank you.
No more questions then?
Una.
Still regarding let's say, the genetic factor, if I have someone in the family that has had this disease, according to your opinion, how much could influence the trend of this disease in the latest generation?
Well, that is a good question. Always is the normal question in the forums. Because we understand the genetic in the two concepts. One, it's very well defined. And the very well defined risk factor in genetic is mutations. And the mutation is mutation of the APP. And the APP, the groups who express this mutation is a very, very little group. The most important group, it's around the world, it represents 1% to 5% of all the hereditary Alzheimer disease. It's in a very young people. The most important group he's working in this aspect and is focused in this genetic is the group of Paco Lopera in Antioquia in Colombia. Because people express shows the disease more or less at 40s or people in 20. Because that is a mutation, and mutation is 100%. The other is no one gene, no one disease. We have a lot of genes, and we can accumulate a lot of bad genes, and you express the disease faster, earlier. And you can no accumulate the genes, and you express the disease in late onset. But when you have direct family with the genes, your probability increase threefolds. See, 3 times, 3 folds. And it depends the number of this family, you increase 3 times, and the average is if your family you have 2 or 3 generations and you accumulate a group, even though we don't know the gene, because it's very difficult to find the gene, you can express 1/6 times more to express the disease than the other. And the genetic factors always is present in this disease. That it changed from the long time. At the first, we only talk about the genetic with the mutation. Now we're talking about the genetics. Because genetics can to increase the disease, even in severity, and even in the time to express the symptomatology, and can to prevent. And we are found genes that if we get the function of the gene, we can to stop the disease because the genes prevent the disease. But really, the relationships of the genes, they are traduced very, very small. That is the problem for the disease. TREM2 is a new gene that it's appeared, but it's collected in a very little volume of the persons. But if this family has the TREM2, and there are one new clinical trial based on the TREM2, these people with the TREM2 can to be successful with the treatment. But me, without the TREM2, this drug is not working with me. And genetics offer us the possibility to plan one very personalized treatment, like in cancer. Because one gene, one treatment is only for this special family or this special person, but it's not working for the other. And that supposes a big effort for the researchers, a big effort for the industry, because the industry must to be risk into understand a little more the function in deep of these genes, and we have maybe in the future 4 or 5 drugs for only one disease. But genes is a risk in Alzheimer's disease. Okay?
Now we have a question from our French team.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're asking about what do you think about the role of probiotics for Alzheimer prevention?
Oh, beautiful. No, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. I am working in probiotics and in a clinical trial with we collect stools. We collect stools because I don't know if that Alzheimer's disease in the terms of microbiotic, it's similar from the AIDS. The people with AIDS, in terms of the macrobiotic, is people which it becomes elderly fast than the normal people, and all the microbiome in their tools is completely altered. This study is similar that it's possible to appear in Alzheimer's disease, and there are some research who is working to compare AIDS and Alzheimer's disease and to compare what is the structure and the function of the different bacterioma in the Alzheimer's people. For that, we need to analyze the stools from healthy people, young people, elderly people, mild cognitive impairment, and Alzheimer's disease. What is the difficulties? The difficulties is to work with microbiome. It's difficult because when you change your alimentation, your nutrition, your microbiome is changing completely. If you take pills, your microbiome is completely different. If you take one antibiotic, it's alter all your microbiome. But my friend Ventura Clotet, I working with Ventura Clotet in this aspect with the two disease, they promote to take a lot of probiotics. And just, I don't remember it yesterday or the last week in the New York Times, there are one article about germs in Alzheimer's disease. It seems that it's possible to change a lot of the concept of Alzheimer's disease. The first hypothesis was prions, and Alzheimer's disease was similar to the prion disease, and now there are one theory on different hypotheses that it's published, and I believe it's in the, I don't remember, it's New York Times on the Economist. I read this one in the weekend. I don't remember, I'm sorry. But in one or another, they are talking about the possibility that the etiology of Alzheimer's disease was microbius, bacteria, the Germans. That is a new deal. I believe that I can refuse this idea because I work in this idea. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, now Christoph Koch, our Chief Business Development Officer, will explain us a bit about our products on Alzheimer.
May I? Thank you.
Well, first of all, let me thank Professor Boada for being with us today. We're very happy to have you, and I think it was very interesting to see the whole picture. And before we close today, I would like to introduce a bit more what Noraxfam does for Alzheimer, for the patients, for caregivers. Because for us, Alzheimer treatment is a strategic pillar of what we do. And you've seen it, there's not a lot of products in your arsenal that you can use for, yeah? We are, and for us, it's something we're working on and putting these products, making them available to as many patients as possible. You've seen the products that are there. We have all of them in our portfolio in various of the countries, starting with the donepezil, which you find in most of our countries. Then the rivastigmine, we have it in Spain, we have it in Germany, we have it in Italy. We have the memantine. You will find it in also most of our countries. This is something which is the basis of our portfolio and is something which we want to expand. We all know it's at the moment impossible to cure Alzheimer from this point of view. What we can do with our work that we do is provide better access to the medicines, and we can work on making the use of the medicines easier for patients and easier for family members by improving the dosage forms, by improving the galenical functions of the products that we offer, reducing side effects, because the products all still have some side effects which you can work on. And of course, another thing which we are working on is to start earlier. And for us, earlier means, for example, the nutritional products that we have, the nutraceuticals, especially in Italy and now in more countries. In Spain, you can find them. In Eastern Europe, you can find them. And soon, they will also be in France. And these are products which have evidence that they can help with patients with mild cognitive impairment, with early onset of dementia. And this is what we're working on. And whether it's probiotics or whether it's traditional nutraceutical products, this is definitely something which we will expand. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. But yes, thank you again for being here. We not just work on products, but also I don't want to forget especially Germany, where we have a foundation, the NERCS Foundation, which works with patient groups like the German Alzheimer's Society, and giving support not just in pharmaceuticals, but also in the very complicated social law to the patients and to family members who are affected by this disease. This is a work which also shows our social responsibility, and we like to continue doing this and do more of that. So once again, thank you very much for being here. I hope we'll put a little bit of help to your mission to eradicate Alzheimer. We'll do our best. And now, I think one more thing is left to do. We will proceed to the draw of the, okay, that is in Catalan, so I have to pronounce it. There are 2 double tickets open for La Nit de l'Alzheimer, the charity gala, organized by your foundation. Good luck to everyone.
Bueno, muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Moltes gràcies, Mercè. Mi catalán no es muy bueno, pero... Y ahora nada, para acabar, vamos a hacer el sorteo, que a quien le toque seguro que es un lujo, porque lo preparan todo súper bien y bueno, y mandarnos fotos, porque seguro que es un día estupendo. Vamos a hacer el sorteo. Mercè, ¿nos acompañas? Que tú serás la que saques la ganadora o el ganador. Sí.
No se lo crean, eh? Això de la innocència era quan érem petits.
Before leaving, everyone, I want to thank you to all the countries that are watching us. And well, thank you very much for attending. And thank you also to Mercè for coming to Neurax Farm. So thank you.
Thank you very much.